The deeper you go into The Sopranos, the clearer it becomes. Power isn't static. Loyalties shift, threats rise, and egos flare. And just like in part 1, the watchers keep telling the story. Today on the watch list, we're back with 5 more iconic timepieces from The Sopranos, digging into the details, the symbolism, and what these pieces would cost you today. Last episode, I covered Tony Soprano, Christopher Moltisanti, Corrado Junior Soprano, Richie Aprile Sr., and Carmelo Soprano. And today, I've got 5 more for you guys. Let's dive into it. Paulie Gualtieri. Superstitious, sharp-tongued, and fiercely loyal, Paulie Walnuts is one of Tony's most iconic and colourful capos. Known for his no-nonsense attitude and occasional bursts of paranoia, Paulie thrives on tradition and respect. But beneath the bluster, he's surprisingly pragmatic. While many of his fellow mobsters flaunt high-priced luxury watches to broadcast wealth and power, Paulie takes a different route, showcasing his own personal taste with 2 different watches from the same rather modest watchmaker, Movado. Paulie's go-to is the gold Movado Esperanza, easily recognized by its minimalist dial, a black face punctuated by a single dot at 12 o'clock, paired with a distinctive gold link bracelet. It's hard to pin down the exact reference number because Movado began the Esperanza line in the 80s and never really changed the design much. But if I had to guess, I'd say it's something like a reference 8819865. This particular reference is complete with a 32mm case, quartz movement, and sapphire crystal. But like I mentioned earlier, Paulie isn't a one-watch man. He's also spotted wearing a silver version of a very similar watch from Movado, known as the Esperanza Museum. I've got a better idea on the reference for this one, and I strongly suspect it's a reference 0606042, which has a 38mm case size, black dial, quartz movement, and stainless steel bracelet. Both pieces run on reliable Swiss quartz movements, offering precision and style without screaming for attention. When Paulie first strapped on his Esperanza in the late 90s and early 2000s, it would have cost him around $600 to $1,000, a far cry from the $10,000 watches worn by some of his peers. Today, these vintage Movado models typically resell for $400 to $900, depending on condition. Richie Aprile. Richie Aprile, played by David Prouvel, was arguably the most detestable character in all 6 seasons of The Sopranos. A violent, sadistic thug who ultimately met his hands at the ends of his own fiancée, Tony's sister Janice. For a man defined by brutality and paranoia, it's a striking contrast that on his wrist sits one of the most elegant and refined timepieces ever made, a vintage Cartier tank. I, for one, am not convinced that Richie purchased this watch for himself, and I strongly suspect he may have stolen it, just like he stole Rocco DeMio's jacket. The Cartier tank symbolizes timeless elegance, sophistication, and European refinement, values Richie neither embodied nor respected. Its presence on his wrist is ironic, even jarring, highlighting a man desperately clinging to the appearance of class and power without truly understanding or earning it. With an iconic piece like the tank that has been in production for so many years, it's pretty hard to nail down an exact reference. However, my best guess would be that it's a Cartier tank reference 1140, a quartz watch produced during the 1980s and 90s. Crafted in 18-karat yellow gold, the watch features a classic white dial with Roman numerals, elegant blued steel hands, and a slim rectangular case measuring approximately 23.5mm wide, excluding the crown. The watch is fitted with a Cartier black leather strap. In the late 1990s, a Cartier tank reference 1140 in 18-karat gold would have retailed for roughly $4,000 to $6,000 USD, depending on the market and configuration. A hefty price tag for a watch like that at the time. Today, vintage examples of the same model in good condition typically sell for $5,000 to $8,000 USD on the pre-owned market. Sal Bonpensiero. Sal "Pussy" Bonpensiero, one of Tony Soprano's oldest and most trusted friends, was a central figure in the show's early seasons, until his tragic downfall as an FBI informant. Pussy's yellow gold Rolex Day-Date with its striking red stellar dial is a fascinating visual metaphor. Is it an ironic nod to the blood oath he swore as a made man, or an eerie bit of foreshadowing for his violent deaths at the hands of the very friends he betrayed? Either way, there's no question that Pussy wore the Day-Date in part to emulate Tony, mirroring his boss's taste for showy luxury. By wearing this watch, famously nicknamed the President, Pussy signals his aspiration to mirror Tony's authority and standing. Yet beneath that polished exterior lies a man holding a secret power over his boss, knowing that every conversation could end up in an FBI file. And no watch, no matter how regal, could save him once Tony learned the truth. In his final scene, aboard Tony's boat, just after he's been shot, we witness Paulie stealing the watch off of Pussy's dead body. And while they did show Pussy more respect than he deserved in the end, they're still wise guys. The red dial of Pussy's Rolex carries layered meaning. Red, the color of power, passion, and danger, reflects Pussy's inner turmoil. A man torn between loyalty to his lifelong friends and his desperate attempt to survive as an FBI informant. The exact watch is a Rolex Daydate 36, reference 18038, featuring a vivid oxblood red stellar dial. The watch has a 36mm 18-karat yellow gold case, paired with an iconic presidential bracelet. Powered by a Rolex automatic movement, the day date includes the signature day display at 12 o'clock and date window at 3 o'clock, framed by a fluted gold bezel. In the late 1990s, a Rolex day date reference 18038 with a stellar dial would have retailed for around 12 to 15,000 USD, though the stellar dials were already rare and often sold at a premium. Today, these same vintage stellar dial presidentials command collector prices between 30 to 40,000 USD, depending on condition, provenance, and market demand. Ralph Cifaretto. Ralph Cifaretto, played by Joe Pantoliano, was one of the most volatile, narcissistic, and unpredictable characters in Sopranos. Known for his cruel humor, sadistic outbursts, and constant scheming, Ralph's watch choices were as scattered and flashy as his personality. Ralphie also didn't stick to one signature piece. Instead, he cycled through multiple watches, each reflecting a different facet of his restless, status-obsessed nature. While exact references can be tricky to lock down, especially given Ralphie's taste for mixing pieces, each watch in his lineup speaks to a man who wanted to signal sophistication, wealth, and individuality. Ralphie's rotation included a Raymond wheel, Gégé Lecoultre, and Frank Muller. My immediate thought for the Raymond wheel was that it was a Raymond wheel Tosca, but upon further review, it's much more likely that he's sporting the Raymond wheel Don Giovanni. I say this because the Tosca that resembles his watch is a women's watch and wouldn't have nearly the wrist presence that it does in the show. His exact watch, the Raymond wheel Don Giovanni, reference 2671ST00209, is a Swiss-made men's watch with a bold 29mm by 39mm stainless steel case, a black dial with Roman numerals, and a scratch-resistant sapphire crystal. Powered by a self-winding automatic movement, it's water-resistant to 30 meters and paired with a sleek steel bracelet. His Gégé Lecoultre is a little trickier. While I struggled to find the exact reference, the closest thing I could find, based on bracelet and dial, was a reference 267308, which is an 18-karat white gold women's watch that, while technically designed for women, seems to closely match the piece spotted on Ralph Cifaretto's wrist. An odd but fitting detail given his eccentric personality. Featuring the iconic Reverso rectangular flip case, this watch showcases a minimalist dial with elegant markers and delicate hands, all housed in polished white gold. Last up, we've got his Frank Muller, most likely a Conquistador model, though the exact reference is hard to pin down. Known for its bold, oversized, tonneau-shaped case and eye-catching design, the Conquistador perfectly matches Ralphie's loud, attention-seeking personality. With its striking white dial, large numerals, and distinctive curved profile, this watch was built to stand out on the wrist. Frank Muller is known for blending Swiss precision with flashy aesthetics, making it a natural fit for a guy like Ralphie. Ralph's Raymond wheel retailed for around $1,200 to $1,500 USD in the late 90s, and today sells for about $600 to $1,000 pre-owned. His Gégé Lecoultre Verso would have cost roughly $6,000 to $8,000 back then, and now fetches $7,000 to $12,000 depending on condition. Lastly, his Frank Muller Conquistador chronograph sold for about $8,000 to $12,000 in its day, and typically it resells now between $6,000 to $10,000. Furio Giunta. Last up on the list, we've got Furio Giunta, the fierce Neapolitan enforcer brought over by Tony Soprano that stood apart from the crew not just in accent and style, but also in his choice of wristwear. While the other guys favored flashy gold pieces, Furio opted for a rugged, high-performance chronograph designed originally for the French Air Force, a watch engineered to withstand forces up to 11 Gs. The exact reference appears to be the Zenith El Primero Rainbow Flyback reference 0102048405, featuring a robust 40mm case, a striking black dial, and chronograph functions powered by Zenith's famed automatic El Primero movement. Built for precision and durability, this flyback chronograph was originally designed for military use, combining rugged performance with sharp functional aesthetics. In the late 1990s, this model retailed for approximately $3,000 to $4,000 USD. Today, the pre-owned market sees this watch typically priced between $2,800 and $4,500 USD, depending on condition. And that's it for this second chapter of Sopranos watches. I've already got the names ready for part 3, just let me know if you want me to pull the trigger. Until next time, thanks for checking out the watch list.